Sorry, I'm rather a long way away from most of you. My name is Wilf Stephenson. I'm the treasurer here at Oriel College. For those of you who are at other colleges, I might be the Estates Bursar or some other such title. But as you know, colleges do the same thing differently, and so we do here at Oriel. It's my great pleasure to welcome you here today for the launch of the Centre for the Study of the Bible and the Humanities. This is a great moment for the college. When soon after Hindy came to Oriel, she grabbed me in the quad and said to me, "Are you a builder?" And I looked a bit, so, well, you know, what does that mean? And of course, I am a builder, but I'm a builder of spaces and of resources, and all of those are for academic endeavour. Hindy is a builder of that endeavour. So it's my great pleasure to welcome you here today, and also to introduce our new Provost, Neil Mendoza, who's going to say a few words. Neil is also a builder. He's built successful businesses and run and built successful charities, and is a leader in the historic buildings and museum sector in this country. So, Neil, over to you.
Thanks, Wilf. I thought that introduction was going to go on for a bit longer. I was enjoying that last bit.
Sorry, too quick.
So anyway, welcome again, and thank you so much for coming. It's quite weird, this big space, actually, to the launch of this. Thank you. It's a bit like if we yeah, you didn't ask about the drink. Should I say that? I know it's a bit odd to be in a room in Oxford where you haven't got a glass of sparkling white wine in your hand, but that's because we're not allowed to in this room. But immediately after this, we'll go downstairs to the senior common room in the same building, this incredible building designed by the architect James Wyatt, and we'll have a drink. We'll have a drink there. And this college is so delighted to be the home for the Centre for the Study of the Bible in the Humanities. And we are doubly honoured to be associated with you, our Professor Hindy Najman, the Oriel and Laing Professor of the Interpretation of Holy Scripture. And I think it was Hindy's inaugural lecture a couple of years ago, in 2016, which sparked the whole idea for this centre, which aims to encourage and support the building of new networks and collaborations. So when the governing body of Oriel was presented with her proposal, it recognised an opportunity not just to boost academic research here within this college, but to support a truly interdisciplinary approach to a field of study across departments, faculties, and across colleges, across universities, and you can see from everyone here today, and across nations around the world. And I'm thrilled by it because it's exactly the kind of thing that that Oriel College should be getting involved in. And we've got form in this area. Since we were founded about 700 years ago, coming up to it actually, the study of theology has always been of great significance here. So we think we have a claim in this subject area. It's very important to us. And just recently, in the early 19th century, this place was home to John Henry Newman and John Keble, pioneers in the Oxford movement. And this place was the centre of intellectual argument during a very tumultuous period in this country. And so the launch of the centre illustrates this college's ongoing commitment to the advancement of theological and biblical study, but with an open-minded, really important, an open-minded and inclusive approach to the humanities and all religious traditions. And I'm just so delighted to see this idea come to fruition this week. And I'd like to thank Hindy and her students and her postgrads and her postdocs for all their work in not just doing all the organising tonight, this week, but for bringing the whole centre to life. And I would also like to thank our benefactors who have provided financial support to this vision, for their generosity. It's a wonderful thing to be a donor, but also to be an early, pioneering donor is a very difficult thing, and it's an inspirational thing because you make things happen. And I know you probably want to be anonymous, but I'm not very good at keeping secrets. So I really want to thank Charlie and Susan Knapp and the Knapp Foundation for their incredible generosity and spirit to help get this thing off the ground. But in a way, you today have all created this new initiative, this new centre, from just an idea and a vision. And this college at this university is so proud to support and promote that vision and play our small part in helping you make it happen. So, thank you. And we're also honoured, as Wilf said earlier, to have Karen O'Brien here, who's head of the Humanities division at this university. And I'd like to hand over to Karen.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. So I'm here to put the H in Humanities as I'm the head of the Humanities division, and it's a huge privilege to be here at this extraordinary launch event after what I can easily tell from my brief conversations just now has been a truly exciting interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary day, and I know that there's another day to follow, and it's a wonderful opportunity for the college and the university and the faculty to welcome so many scholars from a range of countries, universities and disciplines, and to celebrate this new centre which will really anchor an interdisciplinary conversation in one of the most profoundly generative texts available to any of us. In some ways, I think this is a very uniquely Oxford project, if I can put it that way, grounded in our history of hundreds of years of theological scholarship, our history also, I think very importantly, of language learning. We recently in the Humanities division conducted an exercise that I keep telling this story because I had to get the linguistics faculty to validate the exercise. We decided we would count how many languages we now actively teach in humanities, and many of these, as you all know, are profoundly relevant to the understanding of the Bible and its generative impact on the world. And that number is 62, which is an absolutely formidable number. And we did have a long argument about whether Anglo-Norman is a language, and it turns out that it is. So there are debates about when is a language not a language, but I will leave that to my linguistics colleagues. But the study of the Bible and the way in which the Bible and academia have intersected has always been rooted in Oxford's extraordinary traditions of language learning, obviously going back to the founding of the Hebrew Chair in the 16th century, and I know that Jan Joosten is part of this conference and part of this project, but I was also thinking today of William Tyndale, who was fluent in 7 languages and who was such a profoundly important Oxford person, educated at Magdalen Hall here in Oxford, and who suffered and paid so dearly for his commitment to sharing the Bible in his own mother tongue. And I was also thinking of the finances of the university and how very grateful we are that William Lord arranged for the King James Bible to be published by OUP, because Oxford University continues to be completely bankrolled by OUP, and we worry about whether this is a problem and whether we should have other sources of income because we seem to lose money on research and teaching. And yet, in some ways, isn't it fantastic that we have this extraordinary, globally important press that has a massive role for the teaching of the English language all over the world, and a massive role for education and for academia, and that has its roots to a very significant extent in biblical publishing. And Oxford was also the home of those famous lectures in the 18th century, which is my period. Robert Laus, lectures on Hebrew poetry, a pioneering professor of poetry, and that way of associating the Bible with the great traditions of literature in the Western canon and far beyond the Western canon. We now have, as you know, within the Humanities division, 10 faculties, and all of those faculties are in some profound way engaged with the Bible. We have scholars in the music faculty who work on Handel's biblical oratorios. We have a leading group of historians, including the Regius Professor, working on Luther and the traditions of the Protestant Reformation. We have artists in the Ruskin School of Art who do video installations thinking about religious identity and religious law in really interesting new media. And we have leading Miltonists in the English faculty thinking about John Milton's poetry. So a very Oxford project, and yet this is an Oxford tradition that you, as a group of scholars from within but far beyond Oxford, will help Oxford to reshape, will become a nexus for a truly global and interdisciplinary conversation around this idea, this intellectually generous idea of the Bible and the humanities. So the convening power of this centre, I think, is going to be really important in keeping that originally Oxford but now global dialogue about the Bible fully alive. The convening power of the centre will be important, but I think at the centre of it is a convening person. I've got to know Hindy during my 2 years at Oxford, and I think anyone who knows Hindy knows that she has extraordinary gifts, not only as a scholar, but as a convener, as a bringer of people together, as a person who has the ability to open out discussions rather than close them down, to make connections rather than insist on her own disciplinary grounding, and to see possibilities where others just see a borderline or something that where, you know, they would rather stay in their own silos. Hindy, you are a convening person. This centre will have tremendous convening power, and it will embody your energy and your dynamism, and all of those who know, of us who know Hindy, know that that's going to become a reality. So I hope that this has been a fantastic day. I hope tomorrow is an equally fantastic day, and I look forward to seeing this centre flourish in Oriel College. So ahead of the drinks, it falls to Hindy to have the last word.
Thank you. Thank you, Wilf. Thank you, Neil. And thank you, Karen. The center cannot fulfill its vision without relying on the strengths and sense of collegiality of the faculties of theology, of religion, of classics and Oriental studies, and of Oxford Center for Hebrew and Jewish Studies, and of the Corpus Classic Center. And just here in front of the room is the new president from Hebrew and Jewish Studies, a world-renowned codicologist and medievalist, and now the new president of Hebrew and Jewish Studies. And I want to take this opportunity to welcome you as my friend, my colleague, and leader of Hebrew and Jewish Studies. The list alone of these institutions, these faculties, these centers, should suggest to everyone the breadth and scope of this center's undertaking and ambition. We share in and support the work of all of our partners here in Oxford and recognize our indebtedness to their efforts. We gratefully acknowledge the financial support of Oriel College and the John Fell Foundation and the philanthropic investment and commitments from donors which have enabled us to sustain and grow our vision. We thank you. We're honored by your investment and belief in our vision. We offer grateful thanks to everyone who has been involved in this organization of the conference and really the creation of the center. The Center for the Study of the Bible and the Humanities celebrates biblical studies as an inclusive and plurilingual phenomenon. Its scholarly foundation may be in antiquity, but biblical studies participates in the humanities in interdisciplinary discourses across time. The center found a home in Oriel because of Oriel's intellectual energy and willingness to embrace otherness in a manner that is courageous and full of chesed, or grace. The governing body of Oriel endorsed this center and recognized that this was a college initiative that cut across all colleges and faculties within the university, and one that seeks to engage with Oxford as a whole. Since the center's creation, we have international projects with the Freie Universität, the Max Planck Institute of the History of Science in Berlin, the University of Zurich, Princeton, Hebrew University, Tel Aviv University, Cambridge and Yale, and King's College London. There are many interdisciplinary projects underway here in Oxford with the center, and in particular with our closest partner, Hebrew and Jewish Studies, as well as the faculties I've mentioned already, theology, religion, and classics. The Center for the Study of the Bible and Humanities is a place that is open to innovative research and committed to explore uncharted territories as we learn from the strengths and expertise of others, and as we bring our own training and expertise to bear on the various topics at hand. To name just a few projects, a year-long collaboration on the Dead Sea Scrolls, an ongoing project on what is commentary, an international and interdisciplinary project on exemplarity, a project on the humanities and on the formation of the subject and the self in antiquity, and a brand new project, which was just crystallized this week, on Jewish magic and visual representation with the Ashmolean Museum and the Israel Museum. We also celebrate a new book series that links the Center for the Study of the Bible and the Humanities with Oxford University Press, called The Bible in the Humanities. Today, we celebrate these collaborations. The future of this center is promised for new avenues of research that will continue to reshape this center with a rigorous and bold vision for the humanities and to the enduring credit of Oxford. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Hindy. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Neil. Thank you all for joining this remarkable occasion. I just want to say, Neil referred to the Oxford movement. When you go downstairs for a drink, and I'm sure you're all gasping for a drink, you will go into the common rooms in which the Oxford movement really was created. That intellectual movement, which was far more than the movement within the Church of England, as I'm sure most of you know, but was one of the centre of really social debate and social policy in Britain in the early part of the 19th century. So we are enormously privileged to have this particular building here. Like a lot of colleges, you get a gift and then you have to seek other gifts. Well, Oriel got a gift which was many of the books that you see around you, which was Lord Lee's library. And what did Oriel have to do in 1790? He had to go out and have an appeal to raise money to build a library. And that's what the college did, and it included the common rooms down below. So I hope you enjoy being in those spaces, having been in this space. And we look forward to, and I look forward, and my team here and Oriel look forward to working with Hindy and all the members of the centre to support the great endeavour that this represents. So thank you all very much.